I'll just get a sound check from somebody. Evening, everybody. I think it takes a little minute to play catch up for everyone. Oh, okay, I think everyone's entered in the room. Evening, everybody. Can you hear okay? Hey, Nathan. Oh, I got a special guest in here tonight. Nathan's going to be on my channel on Monday night, which I'm really, really, really buzzing about. Okay, perfect. Well, I'm just going to kick it off. Okay, guys, I've got 3 special guests with me tonight. So I'm just going to introduce myself. My name's Fran. I served 3 years, 8 months behind bars for conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. I served time in Send and Bronzefield. I went brain dead then. So I'm just going to get the guys just to introduce themselves. So, Ginge, if you want to go.
Yeah, I'm Teresa, aka Ginge. I served 4 years, 10 months for robbery, went to Easter Park, and then done the rest of my sentence at Send.
Emily?
Hi, I'm Emily. I got charged with conspiracy to supply Class A. I got an 8-year prison sentence and I served 4 years. Started my sentence in Holloway, then went to Bronzefield and then East Sutton Park.
Just quickly, so me and Emily met in Bronzefield, and we've all, well, Emily and Ginger I met in prison. Corinne we met outside of prison, but Emily's YouTube channel has just been pinned up, guys. Glenna's going to pop it out through. Can you please jump over? She's new to YouTube. She's been really lazy on it. She's a brilliant TikToker. I'm trying to get her over to the dark side because I think it's much better. So please, when you finish, pop over. You have to put the @ in, otherwise it won't work. Pop over and give her a subscription, because yeah, we'll be seeing her more on YouTube, won't we, Emily?
Yes, we will be.
And then I got the True Crime Whisperer.
Hi.
Why
Oh, do I
so
need?
nervous?
I don't know. It's weird. There's
Yourself,
loads of people.
in case we got anyone new to the channel. So
Okay. Yeah, my name's Corinne. I did just under 6 months in Bronzefield for violence. Yeah.
yeah, okay, guys. Right, so literally, like, tonight's a bit of a free for all. Can you please put the name of who your question's going to refer to, because everyone's just going to mute themselves while the other person gets a chance to speak. We don't want everyone to be bombarding everybody. Appreciate you guys all in here. And this is where it goes quiet for 4 hours. No, hang on, here we go.
Oh, yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm feeling a lot better today.
So you guys can see the comments being pinned up there, yeah? You can see that clear enough. Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm well excited that Nathan's in, and I'm really excited for him to come on Monday. Thank you for joining us tonight, Nathan. Shut up, Will. I might as well just pin that one up because he just talks absolute rubbish.
No, he's funny. I like him.
No, I know.
Thank you, Nikki.
Liam, are you from Facebook? Hi, Emily. So, guys, have you got any questions? I mean, Emily, you might have seen me do some videos with, but she's never been live with me. So feel free. Oh, I'm glad you got a reminder, Sarah. Yeah, so feel free to ask away because we're not going to sit here in silence. Everyone's just like, great, what have I got myself into? This is literally just a Q&A. Normally, right, if I'm interviewing someone, I'll be like, can you not ask any questions? Leave it to the end. And they'll be like, bang, 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 bang. Okay, if you're going to ignore me, then you need to go over. Oh, here we go. We got Nathan. Oh, thank you, Nathan.
Thanks, Nathan.
Girls, you got to watch him. He's coming on Monday. I'm so excited, and it's going to be live as well. So here we go.
I got caught with 1 kilo of cocaine.
Okay, here we go.
I never have personally, thank God. No, I'm joking. No, she's lovely.
Well, at least she's coming with a question anyway. Everyone else is just all
Sorry,
silent tonight.
T-Tex.
No, in a minute it'll start going nuts. It takes a second for them all to wake up. Yeah, there's one for you, Emily.
Yeah, I was absolutely petrified when I got remanded straight away from the police station. So then from there, I went straight to prison. So yeah, and then when I found out my sentence, I was I was an emotional wreck, to say the least.
I can actually imagine that.
Was it your first offence on drugs?
Yeah, I'd never even been arrested before for anything. I'd never been inside a police station. So yeah,
thought
it
they
was
would
a
have given
lot.
you bail.
Yeah, no, they initially at the police station they said they weren't bailing me for my own safety, and then when it got to magistrates, they said they weren't bailing me because I was a flight risk. So yeah.
Guys, can you do me a favour? Can you just stick who you want the question to refer to? So otherwise what's going to happen is we're all going to jump on the answer and everyone will just be talking over each other. Yeah, all the questions are flying through now. So I'll go back up to the questions in a minute, guys. I'll let someone else answer that one.
When you go to a new prison, can you work the other prisoner?
Can you work the other prison? That's pretty quick. So the bad ones, yeah, some are really good. Some are really, really clever at masterminding it, guys. Like you'll, so that it's the lifers. They're really good at pretending to be someone they're not. And then when you're put into certain circumstances like COVID, that's when you really realise their proper mentality. But normally, like 8 times out of 10, you can work out.
Okay, I read that differently, but I understand what it meant now.
Or do you mean actually the wrong ones? Because if you mean the wrong ones, not really. It's more people. For me, mine was when I come onto House Block 4, Emily. Everybody was going, "Oh, X done this, Y done that." So I don't think if you're talking about wrong ones, for me, unless you know, sometimes you wouldn't know, would you?
No, of course not. I had a paedophile in my room once without knowing. Looking at my kids' pictures, I found out a week later. I was like, "Oh, mate."
It's not even funny, but it's just like.
But it's like, yeah, I know what you mean.
It's bad. The thing is, Nikki, I don't know. Do you know what? I'm going to ask you all. So let's start with Corinne because she's not spoke yet.
That makes a change.
I was going to say.
I've gone quiet. I don't want to interrupt everyone. If I could give myself advice, I don't know, because I wasn't well at the time. I wasn't thinking normally. But if I could give myself advice from when I was a lot younger, to not let people use and abuse me and put up with it, because I felt like I had no self-worth. So because I had no self-worth, I'd allow people to treat me really badly, which is what ended up tipping me over the edge in the end. So yeah, that would be my advice to myself, is don't let people use you and abuse you.
I might be worth muting ourselves. Let me just see.
Yeah, it's echoing.
What was that?
Do you want to answer that, Ginge?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, mine's probably about the same. Just don't, like, if I was my younger self, I wouldn't allow people to, I can't say the word. I don't know what the word is, but, bring you into that sort of environment with drugs and crime, and just think for yourself and not want to be part of the crowd just to make friends. Yeah, and just think for yourself, really. Not be too naive, because I think a lot of the time I was. It's like, oh, they're good people, and then obviously I got into what I got into. And don't believe everything in life. That's about it, really.
Do you want to mute? Just click mute every time he speaks. I think it's echoing. I think it's me. Yeah, it's gone now. Yeah, for me, mine literally would just be to actually speak out, like get help, talk to people, not bottle every single emotion I went through, because it wouldn't have led me to addiction if I had support. Things were a bit different when I was younger. It's not like it is today, but definitely I would just say, like, yeah, actually reach out to somebody. Ems, if you wanna. She might be seeing to the little one. Hang on. Oh, no, she's doing a handstand. Unmute yourself.
I don't think she knows she's muted.
No, she would be able to hear me, though.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry, guys. It's absolute like a nut house. Like my family's come over, the kids are over because it's like my daughter's birthday tomorrow. So it's just literally
Do you
absolute
need to
carnage.
go?
No. So let me answer the question. So advice I'd give my younger self would be definitely to listen to your parents because you know, like when your mom tells you something and you're like, oh, do you know what? I don't want to hear it. Like, there's my mom just talking shit. Yeah, so they're just talking, you just think, oh, go away, mom. Like, don't tell me that. But actually, do you know what? Now when you look back, you think, no, my mum was right. She did know a lot. I should have listened to her. And then maybe I would be in a better situation. But we live and we learn, don't we? So, yeah.
Do you know what it is? We forget our parents were adults. That's for me. You forget they had a life. You just see them as moany old parents, and you don't think, oh, they was actually a kid once. They actually lived the shit we lived. We just, yeah. Question for anyone: did you all do different jobs or all do the same during the day? Ems, do you want to let everyone know what you've done in prison?
So I worked as a wing worker, so just cleaning the wing when I was in Holloway, and I worked in the servery, so dishing out food for everyone. And then when I was in Bronzefield, I worked in the salon, so in the hairdressers that was inside the prison. And I also worked in like I don't want to say restaurant because Fran will take the piss, but a staff caf type thing where they could get food. I worked in there as well. And then when I went to an open prison, I worked for a youth organization. Well, they were drug and rehabilitation initially, but they had a youth side of it. I worked with them and did youth work, outreach work in the community and in schools and colleges. And then I worked for Max Spillman, which is a photo printing place that you might have seen in like Tesco's and places like that.
I'm not going to answer some of these questions because I think everyone's heard my story. But Ginger, if you want to go ahead.
I think I'd done everything. I used to get sacked from every job within about 3 weeks just for being naughty, whether it be kissing around the corner with a girl or being cheeky. But I literally done gardens, servery, wing cleaning. I helped clean like all the offices. But then most of the time I was behind my door, so I didn't really have a full-time job. But yeah, I'd done a bit of everything, which got me out of my room, so that was good. But shit pay.
True crime whisperer.
I didn't actually have a job. I used to just help my friends do their jobs. So like my friend who was doing the laundry, I'll just sit in there and do the laundry with her. But yeah, no, I didn't really. But I wasn't in there as long as you guys, you know what I mean? And I had people sending me money in, so yeah.
Oh, with money or without money, I still had to have a job. I could be in my cell all day. Emily, it was lovely to see you as well this morning. That's one for you, Ems.
I would say, well, I liked Holloway. The reason I liked Holloway was because it was quite old fashioned in its ways in terms of like it was prisoners and prison officers. Like there was no blurred lines. They knew what they'd been doing. The prison had been running for hundreds of bloody years, and everything was in place. And yeah, I just felt like it was a much better run prison. Bronzefield was all over the place. Officers were chilling with prisoners in their rooms, doing the absolute most, and yeah, renowned for officers and inmates having affairs. Yeah, the food was shit as well, just to top it off. So yeah, it was a bit of a shit show, to be honest. I think Bronzefield, but then I got a lot out of it, but because I did spend a majority of my sentence in Bronzefield as well. you know, and it because of some of the staff there, then they weren't actually officers, but for some of the staff there, they actually really helped me and they got me my qualification.
Unmute yourself, Corinne.
I hate answering things about this. Okay, so I was in an abusive relationship, and in the end, I snapped and lashed out at the person that was abusing me after taking it for 2 years. I just couldn't take it anymore. And then also, I did knock a police officer out outside a pub. So yeah, and I think I got into some bar fights as well. Oh, it sounds so bad, so embarrassing. But yeah, that I regret a lot of things, but I can't take it back. But you know, I've changed. I don't touch alcohol anymore, which is a big help. But yeah.
I think, Ginge, you're a good one to answer this question because you was up main block a lot, and is it easy to corrupt staff as it is? I think that's what you're saying. Is it easy to corrupt the staff like as it is in a men's prison? So
I
I
would say
think
it is, yeah. I would say 100%. You've only got to give a man officer the eye and he wants to bring you fucking drugs in or do something sexual with you, like. But yeah, 100% you can corrupt them. I don't know about a man's jail, but you can corrupt them easily, yeah, 100%, especially at main block. Because obviously it's quite rough up there and that's where all the drugs are. So I think a lot of the officers, especially the men, know the girls are quite vulnerable up there. So yeah. So yeah, that's a question, yeah.
yeah, I'd say so as well. I reckon it's probably easier because well, I won't say easier actually. I don't know because I've never been in a man's prison. But like you said, you only got to show a bit of cleavage, and the guys, especially in Bronzefield. Emily, have you noticed anything like that in your time? We was on like the goody two shoes wings, really, weren't we? So
Yeah, that's what I feel like, and that's why I think I say a lot of the time. I feel like throughout my sentence, I feel like I was quite sheltered from all that other shit that was going on. So I would hear a lot of stuff that has happened. You'd hear stories, rumors, and things like that, but I didn't personally see anything because I very much kept myself to myself, as you know, Fran. And we weren't on the main blocks with everyone, so it's a little bit different.
yeah, 100%. Okay, so what is the best thing you've accomplished since being released? Who wants to go first? Right, Corinne, you're going first.
Okay, so a few things, but most of all, getting my children back. So I've got my daughter's permanently with me. My other son comes whenever he wants, but he lives with his dad 'cause his school's there, but he's not far. And then one of my other children's we're in the process of him coming back to me. So that, obviously, getting off drink and drugs and starting up my YouTube channel and just literally just changing my whole life. So yeah.
No, you should be well
Okay.
proud of yourself. That's absolutely amazing. Like not many people get where you are. It's not easy to stop drinking X, Y, and Z. Like, yeah, you should definitely be proud of yourself. Ems?
I think for me, it's just as I had to start from scratch, you know, I lost absolutely everything. And then now at a point where I'm doing a job that I absolutely love. I'm using my experiences to help other people since starting like TikTok and talking about everything I've been through and, you know, educating people on the criminal justice system and, you know, the types of people that end up there. Yeah, I just feel like it's been in such a short space of time, like it's been so rewarding. Um, and to look at where I am now to where I was when I first came out of prison, like I've come so far. And also excited because I feel like I'm just getting started, like I haven't even scratched the surface with the things that I want to be doing.
Don't you think takes like nearly 3 years to find your feet? It's mad, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I feel like I've only literally just started to get on my feet, and I'm talking probably in the last 6 months, to be honest with you. Like it's
Yeah.
taken a while since I come off license. Then that's when it's kind of started to. Because then I feel like I'm properly free now. So now I've come off license, and I feel like okay, now this is where the work starts.
Yeah, I mean, you should be proud of yourself as well, because a lot of women come out of prison and they close the door to that life and they don't use their experience to help other women. And I know how passionate, I've known you for a long time and I know how passionate you are about helping women, and you do an amazing job at what you do. For me, I'm just going to jump on it because I'm waffling anyway. For me, I think the best thing I've accomplished, first of all, is not selling drugs. I've sold drugs since I was 13 years old and I went to prison at 37. I never, ever, ever thought I'd ever get out of that world. And for once, I put my family before myself. And that alone, like that, like I said, I never thought that'd ever happen to me. And the fact that I've come out of work 2 weeks from prison, got a job. I'm now a branch manager. I've set my YouTube channel up. So yeah, there's a lot for me. Ginge?
I think mine is, obviously I had a child when I was in prison. I got out and managed to fight for custody and get him back full time. So social services, the case is fully closed now. Staying clean, I haven't touched drugs once since I've been out, and getting my own property for the first time since I was like 16. So I've got a home, I've got my baby, and I'm clean. So yeah, that's probably my accomplishment.
That's amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is. Again, you should be proud of yourself. That's huge. Yeah, mute, as I say. It's you. I think you're the annoying one. Someone, no, that's gone now. Yeah, no, you should be proud of yourself because that's massive. Is someone not muted? It's only because it's echoing. Yes, you see. No, I'm joking. Yeah, literally, you should be so proud of yourself because that's just, to come out of addiction is really, really not easy. And then to, get your boy, all of you all should be proud of yourselves. Samantha, I'm not quite sure. It's Emily. Or were you safe from yourself? I'm not quite. I might be being dumb, but I'm not quite sure I understand the
I'm not sure
question.
what you mean, Samantha. What do you
Okay,
mean? Were you safe from yourself?
yeah, come back to that one. Guys, again, sorry, can we just put names in front of this one? Does anyone and I think the best one, how often did you get visits? So again, if you can perhaps pinpoint, or if everybody wants to just answer it.
I think it varied, depending on what prison you were in. Some prisons were different. So in Holloway, when you was on remand, you could have visits all the time, but when you were sentenced, I think you only got 2 or 3 a month. Bronzefield, even when you were sentenced, you could have visits every single day. So I don't know what it was like in the other prisons, but that was what it was like in those two.
You got your family days as well, didn't you? So once every 3 months, you like your whole family could come up for like 5 or 6 hours, or adult days. So that was like a little extra bonus.
This sounds really sad. I never had any visits. I don't know why I'm laughing. Well, like, I didn't want my kids to come up because I knew that I wasn't going to be there that long, and I'd already put them through enough. So I just said, look, like, they'll just wait. I wrote them letters and stuff like that instead, and sent them cards and things. So that's how I did it. If I was in there, if I knew I was going to be in there for like longer, then yeah, I would have asked someone to come up with them, but I just didn't want them to see me there.
Okay, Ginge, do you want to go first? Do you want me? I'll read off the question. For anyone, everyone, do you find that having conviction affects relationships now? Is it hard to find a partner who accepts someone with a record? That's really funny. It's a good story, Emily.
No, I don't think it's very difficult at all. No, I don't think, I think if you've had a, disgusting crime, then yeah, it probably would be a little bit more difficult. But if you've just got, a normal crime, if you like. I mean, if any of them are normal. But yeah, if you've got an offence, then I don't know, because if someone is not going to be in a relationship with you because you've got a conviction, then I think it says more about them than it does about you. Because I always say that most women who've got convictions are so much more than their conviction, and they usually aren't bad people, they've just made a bad choice. So if someone doesn't want to be in a relationship with you because of your conviction, then I'd tell you to get fucked anyway. Do you know what I mean? So but yeah, I don't think so. I couldn't see why it would be an issue.
Amen to that. Ginge?
I don't know, because obviously I'm not really good with relationships anyway. It's usually the opposite way around. I find it hard to get into relationships, but I don't think it should affect it. Like you say, if they can't be with you because you've been in prison, that's their own fucking fault. But yeah, some people are just very judgmental, aren't they? So it could affect it, I suppose. Like there's people around here that won't talk to me because I've been to prison, and like they're really funny with me, but I don't give a shit anyway. If they don't like me, fuck off.
Sack them off anyway, mate,
You know
because
what I
they ain't
mean?
worth knowing. Corinne?
That's just small-minded people.
Me personally, I have been so traumatized, right? I know not everyone's bad, but I will never have a relationship again. I've got my kids, got my dog, I've got things that make me happy in life, and that's me. So I don't know, because I haven't bothered trying, and I won't bother to try. So that's just what's happened with me. But
Well, I think for me, it'd be hard luck anyway. I think by the time I ever tried to do the same, I think everyone will probably, half the people would know who I am anyway, or where I've been. So I think in this day and age, I don't think anyone would really care. Like Emily said, I think if you're a wrong 'un, then it's a whole different story. But if you're a wrong 'un, they get protected, they get a new identity anyway, so they don't tell half the people anyhow. So you'll find a lot of people are very acceptant nowadays. If not, people think it's quite cool to have been in prison. This one's for you, Ginge.
I've been to 3. So obviously I went to Eastwood Park. I was on remand there for 3 months when I got my first sentence, and then I went to Send, and then when I got my recall, I went to Peterborough. So yeah, that's 3. Yeah, and they're all absolute fucking shitholes.
Corinne, do you want to go first with that one? What was your worst point when you was inside, and why? Obviously.
okay. Oh, well, I'm not. I can't say that one.
Don't be shy.
No, there's one thing I can't say because it's to do with someone in my family. But well, my kids' birthdays, that was horrible for me. That was probably the worst point when I was in there, because like you guys were all in there a lot longer than I was, so you'd have had a lot more to say on this question. But yeah, I found when, because I had 3 of my kids' birthdays were when I was in prison. So yeah, I found that really hard. Obviously, I wasn't seeing them, so yeah. Apart from that, I didn't really cry, but on them days I did.
That's a lot. 3 birthdays in a short sentence as well. That was like a family. Ems, or do you want me to go Ginge first? Yeah, Ginge, do you want to answer that one?
Well, to be fair, I've got a couple. Obviously, when I went to prison, I'd just given birth literally 3 months prior. So my last contact was with my daughter in jail for fucking hell, the next 16, 17 years. So that was like a really hard point in my life in there. And then when I had Kobe, literally 2 days old, and I was sent back to myself, and he was ripped away from me. So that was really hard as well. So I just really struggled. And then same as me, I've got 2 other children. Every birthday, because I've done 6 Christmases in there. So every time it was Christmas or their birthdays, I'd really struggle. And I'd usually use just to ease that pain away. So that was quite tough. And lastly, I got accused of rape when I was in there. I was just seeing someone like behind someone else's back, and there was another girl that was really jealous, and she went to Safer Custody and told Safer Custody that I'd sexually assaulted this girl when I hadn't. Obviously, it was all cleared up, and the prison knew that was absolute bollocks. But everyone knew it was a lie. But it was still tough on myself because obviously I've been through stuff like that. So it was just a horrible thing to be accused of.
Yeah, because the prison can't ignore that, right? I mean, we all know you. We know you. The officers know you. They all know you just ain't a violent person. Full stop. Never mind something as horrific as that. So but they still have a procedure to follow. You know, they can't ignore it. So I couldn't imagine that was very nice for you, mate.
Mine was, yeah, like just being away from my daughter. Like as a parent is the hardest thing, as the other two have said as well. And then also my mum ended up getting diagnosed with cancer while I was in there. So that was a lot, not being able to be there and obviously support her, because me and my mum was always very close. So not being able to support her during that time. Luckily she ended up being okay, but still it was, yeah, that was a tough time. But I feel like in prison, especially when you are there for a long time, there are lots of ups and downs throughout your entire sentence, and sometimes it can be something even really quite small that could happen either within the prison or just in your personal life. And but in there, because of the environment that you're in, it ends up being like magnified by 1,000, and it feels like it's something that is so extreme and so intense. And yeah, you can end up getting yourself in quite a dark space, I think, while you're in there.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's quite easy. Something like you say, something small can trigger it, and it just makes you feel lonely as hell, and then you just go into a dark place. For myself, it was finding out my mum was terminally ill with cancer, and then so we got October, November, December, February. Literally 6 months later, then going into lockdown. I was outside working outside the prison, so then obviously went to lockdown. My home lease was stopped, didn't know if my mum was going to die or not. She tells me just before we go in lockdown she's not carrying with the chemo. She then finds out she's got 3 to 6 months left to live without that. So then trying to be in lockdown to deal with the fact that I didn't think my mum was going to be here. God bless her, little miracle. She's got like 20 lives, never mind 9. And that's got to be the toughest bit of my sentence, was lockdown. And I think even if I took that out of the equation, I think my bit would have been lockdown, because then it become real prison. That's when it become tough. Okay, so thank you, Nikki. To all, do you feel prison time helped you to deal with your own thoughts and understand yourself? I'll just come off the cuff straight away. 1,000,000%. I could never not be in a relationship. I was codependent before prison. At first, I was my own worst enemy. I had demons in my head, literally. I could never be on my own. And literally, so it taught me to be with myself and learn to live with myself and love myself a little bit more. Gave me huge confidence. Corinne?
Yeah, it got me away from the abuser. It got me away from the substances. It's that prison saved me, because I've got to be careful what I say on here because it will get flagged. But there was a few times that I nearly didn't make it. Let's just say that. So I think if I hadn't have gone to prison, then I probably wouldn't be here. And that's not I'm not exaggerating. So yeah, it really helped me.
Ginge?
Yeah, 100% helped me. Same as you, with the drugs. Like, obviously I did use in there to start with, but then like I've done therapy, basically to learn to love myself, because I always wanted to be in a relationship. I felt I needed that one person to show me that affection, but now I've learned just to love myself, and yeah, I don't need relationships. So I learned that about myself, and loads of different coping strategies for non-self-harming, not to put myself in high risk situations. Yeah, there's loads of things I learned there, but it definitely saved me as well. I probably wouldn't be here now, not from the same thing, but just from like a drug overdose, or the work, like I'm not ashamed to say it, the work I used to do to make my money I could be dead in a ditch from somewhere from what someone done to me. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely saved me 100%. And I wouldn't have my little boy now if I hadn't have gone there.
Ems.
Yep, I second what both the girls have said as well, that I feel like, yeah, it saved me. I was also in an abusive relationship, which is the reason how I ended up getting involved in supplying Class A. And then going to prison, it was like a weight had been lifted off me. Or I instantly felt relieved, and then it was a time where then I could use being on my own to be able to try and like work on myself. Fran will tell you, like, I was not confident at all. She used to leave post-it notes on my mirror and send me cards that when I was out working, and I'd come back to my cell and have left cards in my room, like with positive affirmations for me to tell myself, because I wasn't very confident at all. So it allowed me that time to be able to work on myself, start like the healing process, because of courses that I did while I was in prison around domestic abuse, allowed me to understand that it wasn't my fault, to understand the lengths that a perpetrator will go to in order to get what they want from you. So it was definitely a huge eye opener. Like I mentioned, I got qualifications while I was in there as well. So I'm now a qualified hairdresser, so I'll always have that trade to fall back on if I'm ever out of work. And yeah, I think it's definitely put me on the path that I need to be on.
100. I mean, prison was definitely the best thing that ever happened to me. Guys, again, after here, please go and give Emily some love. I'd be really grateful. I'll keep pinning up the take a screenshot or something of the do it now of the things so you don't forget the name. What was the feeling like when the guards took you down from courts after sentencing? I was all right. I was luckily I had video link, thank God, because I was back and forth, so I was buzzing. I just went back and I was chuffed because I got a few months less than what I was hoping to get max off. So for me, it was all right. I was in the prison, so I just went straight back to the wing. Sorry, Ginge.
So I actually got sentenced on video link, so I didn't go down from the courts. Mine was disbelief. I genuinely couldn't believe I just got like 11-year starting point for my first time ever in prison. I'd done 2 weeks, but it was like breach of probation. But yeah, I was really shocked, like disbelief. I think I cried for about 3 days. But yeah, it's gut wrenching, really.
Yeah, mine was all very dramatic when I was in court. So my starting point was 16 years, and I got time taken off for early guilty plea, good character, and mitigating circumstances. So then they ended up on 8 years. Obviously, I'd never been arrested before, never been even in a police station. So to be in that environment, and then the judge was like, take her down. It was all like, and I was just like, what? Like, what is going on? I just heard these numbers being thrown at me. And then when I went out of the dock and was waiting to get in the lift to go downstairs to the cells in the court, I was just like, yeah, I think I was in shock. I was in shock, but I'd also had in my head that I was going to get 10 years. So when I got 8, I was like, okay, well, that's better, because you was expecting 10. And then getting 8. So that was a little bit of a relief as well. And then it was just about trying to process like what the next few years were going to look like. But by this time, I had already spent 6 months in prison. So it wasn't like I was outside. I was fully in the swing of prison life by this point.
Just quickly, Corinne, before you answer, sorry, somebody just said they're new in the live. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Sorry, I forgot to answer, but sorry, Corinne, if you want to go ahead.
So I was really lucky. The judge. So I was looking at 22 months, and I got 14 months. Obviously, I came out early because I got out on tag, So you get half if on good behaviour, and then tag. So I came out early, but I was looking at more, but the judge actually said, he literally said, I wish I didn't have to send you to prison, but I have no choice. But I think instead of like, what is it, consecutive and concurrent, I can't remember what way around it was, but I think he done, it's really complicated when you're actually there and you're listening to him say stuff. Like, I didn't understand exactly what was going on until like after, and I was like, what, how long have I got then? But I remember asking to try the barrister's wig on, and he was like, you won't like it, it's itchy. I'm just sorry, I just remembered, that's not the part of the question, I just remembered it.
Well,
But
obviously
yeah,
you dealt with the situation very well then, didn't you?
yeah, I was always a joker, but I was just really emotionally numb at this point. I'd hit rock bottom before I'd gone in there, and there was nothing that anyone else could do. That once when my kids got taken, that was the end of my world to me. So anything else that happened to me would just ricochet off of me. Like, it was just, I was really numb, and it took quite a long time, even after I got out, to actually feel things properly again, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
no, of course.
emotion.
Nothing else can hurt you, can it? Your kids are gone. No one can
Yeah.
fight deeper than that. So
And I was in, it's hard to say it. My frame of mind was, I didn't want to be here anymore, so nothing bothered me. So I really didn't care about going to prison. I didn't care how long I went there for. It at the time, I just didn't care. Now, if I got taken today, I would be devastated, because I'd lose everything that I've worked hard to build. But at the point that I went in there, I had it easy compared to some people. Well, I wouldn't say easy, because I had other things going on, but like, I just didn't even care if I was here or not. So when I
you'd
went to
already
prison,
been detached from your kids, so I guess then to
I
go
was
to
detached
prison,
from my own self. It was
yeah,
like a weird place to be. I can't explain it. When you don't care if you're alive or not, it's a very strange mindset to be in. It took a long time for me to sort of like get back into
uh,
reality as such.
of
But
course.
yeah,
There's another question on you there for you, Corinne. Did you join any classes in prison?
no. I'm really
Okay.
not. I'm dyslexic. I find work really hard. And to be honest, in Bronzefield, when I was there, they didn't have that many things to offer, except for like maths and English and that, and I just hate it. So
No,
yeah,
it wasn't that great in Bronzefield, I can't
there
lie.
wasn't like, because I heard about the course you went on and that in Send, like they didn't have anything like that when I was in there.
I think Sen's the only female prison in the UK that actually have that there. That the rap course. Emily, I think this might be a good question for you, to be fair.
Definitely not. There is not enough for young people these days, because for anyone who, like, I don't think I've mentioned it, but I currently now work with young girls who are in care, who are at risk of going down the criminal justice route. They have grown up like in adversity and family breakdowns. They've experienced a lot of trauma in their lifetime, and for these young girls that we work with, there's just not enough. There's not enough support there. There's not enough things for them to do. Um, and you hear about it all, like all the crimes that you hear on the news, that more young people um, are getting into violent crimes and joining gangs and things like that. It's all down to because there's nothing to do. Like when we were younger, you would go to youth clubs, you would go, you would have a hobby, or like, no, kids don't have hobbies these days. It feels like, it feels like they're bored, or they're stuck at home, and they're not doing anything. There's nowhere productive for them to go to actually do something creative. And the thing is, you'll find like a lot of people, especially like drug dealers, they actually have like an entrepreneur mind. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but
Oh,
no, but they
do.
they do. Like, they have, you know I know that it sounds like I'm taking the piss, but I'm not. But the graft that goes into it, and setting up a business, like, so obviously it's illegal, I get that, is, but the qualities that a person needs in order to be able to start a business, in order to have that drive and that ambition to do something. The problem is they're not shown at an early enough point in their life, and their skills are not recognized early on for them to be able to use that and push it into something positive. So they're not aware. So then they end up taking these skills and qualities that they possess and put it into something negative and something illegal, when really and truly they are very intelligent people. And if only they was given the guidance from when they was in school and given the support, and in school, if they taught more about business in high school, then I would like to think that there would be less crime, because these young people would be educated enough earlier on. Like, I feel like in this country there's not enough prevention. It's always, okay, how are we going to punish them for this? Or now what do we do? Now what do we do that this child has completely gone off the rails? Their family is broken down. There's no support. They've suffered all types of trauma in a home that was supposed to make them feel safe. Now what do we do to bring that child back on track? When if that support was just there in the beginning, it wouldn't have happened. Sorry, I could talk for hours about this subject.
That's why I wanted to. But I wanted to come. I know that you do the work you do. I think you'd be the best one to answer that. And when you say about the drugs, it's true. When people think that being a drug dealer is an easy life and easy money, let me tell you something now. I used to get up about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't stop until 11 o'clock at night sometimes. And you're constantly driving around. You're doing X, Y, and Z. And the stress of it is unbelievable, because you're watching over your shoulder, the phone doesn't stop, you've got to make sure you don't run out, all of that goes into it. Like you said, it's the hours you put in. And do you know why I've done it? Because I learned, obviously, that I could get drugs free from my addiction when I was a teenager. Then I realized I could make money, like, and I got caught up in that world. But I totally forgot what I was going to say now. But no, that was it. I remember sitting down, and one of my best friends was involved with me a little bit, and she was like, look, I've met my partner, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And I sat there and I said to her, I said, you know what, this is in my blood. I said, like, I'm never going to amount to nothing. I'm dumb, I'm thick, I'm never going to amount to anything. But you can make a whole career for yourself. Like, you're intelligent, X, Y, and Z. And then, only because of me getting caught with a small amount, I went and got a job, and I started as a driver, and literally just to look good in court. And then within a year and 2 months, I'd gone from driver dispatch to warehouse. They just wanted to use me. And then warehouse supervisor, and I was an operations manager within a year and 2 months. So I had no one, like, don't get me wrong, I got the most loving family ever, but they never kind of like said, like, I believe in you, you can be whatever you want. I was a spoiled little brat by my old man. He come from a poor family. He earned really good money. So when he comes to England, so I then also was not used to not having money when he moved back to Italy. Again, this is all my own doing. I could have changed it, but mine was insecurity, not believing in myself. I never thought I would be able to get out of the life of crime. And like you made a valid point, is people don't realize that they can actually make something of themselves. People just think it's a cop out, but there is always a reason, as to, like, not for everybody, but a majority of people, there's a reason why they get involved in it. So mine was through drug use, at 13 years old, and I've explained it a lot on my channel before. And then you get hooked in it, you're stuck in it.
But what people don't realize as well, when it comes to young people, there has been some form of trauma that they would have suffered at an earlier point in their life. And you might not even think that it's actually that bad, but it could be living in a home where two parents argue, and they constantly argue. And for some people, oh, that was the norm. Yeah, my parents used to argue, but it's not a normal environment to grow up in. Or, my parents got divorced. That's a trauma. That's a traumatic time for a child when two parents separate. But because it's so normalized now, that you don't realize how much of an effect that is going to have on a child. So yeah, it could be anything like that could trigger a child, and then they hold on to that trauma and then they take it through to their life, and then it ends up escalating into something more.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the drug world, I think people find they're looking for that family, and them, you know, them gangs or whatever, people that do all that kind of crime, they trick them in and they feel part of a family, so then they end up doing stuff and getting involved in crime like that. But we could go on about this one for hours, I think. I think I've answered that one already. Ginge, I think if you want to go ahead and
yeah, no, it did. 100%. I was under the influence that night. I mean, I didn't do it, and I'll always say that because I didn't. But although I didn't do it, the money that was taken, I did use on drugs. So anything I ever done wrong, I was always under the influence. I don't really drink, but it was always drugs. And yeah, I think there's quite a lot of recovery in female prisons. There's wrapped. I've done a couple of other courses in Peterborough. So yeah, I think there's quite a lot that can help you in recovery and like get clean. It's not about getting clean, it's about staying clean. But yeah, I got quite a lot of help in there for that. 100%.
Corinne, do you want to elaborate a little bit for you?
Yeah, so alcohol and drugs were a massive part. Well, so I've got a lot of mental health problems that are diagnosed. I'm not going to go into all that, but so I've got mental health problems, and then drugs and alcohol, and then I've been abused to the point where I had nervous breakdown and I couldn't get out of bed, and I would just lay there and stare at the wall. And I put weight on now, but at the time I went to like a size 6 in 8 weeks. I couldn't eat, my hair was falling out, so I was extremely mentally unwell. And then once the kids got taken, that's when I started using and drinking, because I couldn't cope with the pain that they'd gone on to, and then the abuse got worse because they weren't there now. So that the person that was abusing me there was no witnesses, so they upped it to like new levels. So I was drinking and taking substances to try and numb the pain of reality. I felt like I'd been buried alive, and like I felt like I was drowning. I was lost. I didn't even know who I was anymore. I was, every day was a struggle not to end it all. It was the way. I never want to feel like that again. But yeah, so I'd drink, and a lot of the time the police would get called because I was actually doing things harming my own self. And then when they would come, I would end up lashing out at them because they'd be trying to stop me, or they'd say I was under arrest. And so yeah, that the night that I did hit the police officer, I had been drinking from 9 in the morning, and it was about 9 at night, 8, 9 at night that it happened. So yeah, drugs and alcohol, like I had a lot of things going on, and then that was just petrol on the fire. That's when my life just exploded even worse. So yeah, drugs and alcohol were a massive part of. I was already unwell, even if I hadn't, because like I'd already had the nervous breakdown, and I already lost loads of weight, and my hair was falling out. So my life was already falling apart as it was, but that just made it even worse.
I'm just going to change the subject. Guys, right, listen, I'm all for a bit of a joke and a laugh, okay? But Emily's new on the channel. And actually, we're talking about some quite deep conversations tonight. So I am the one putting people on timed out. So I do appreciate everyone that comes in here, but I don't appreciate the stupid comments. And they are actually starting to get out of control because, you know, no one says anything absolutely ridiculous when the guys are on here. So I'm not going to tolerate, especially when it is really, really sensitive topics at the minute. Sorry about me, ran over. Just frustrates me. It's just stupidness, typical guys, and some women do it. I'm not all the men, but I'm not going to keep tolerating it, especially when you're new on our lives, Emily.
What, they're talking
Look,
shit about me?
it's not horrible. It's like, oh, I'd bring Emily something into if she shows her. Do you know what I mean? Show a bit of cleavage. Obviously saying that you're hot, but the thing is, I'm finding it disrespectful.
No,
Like,
I
it's
hear
all right when
you.
we're just doing
But
a
this is the thing.
question.
It's yeah, but it's like, what, I don't know what's wrong with people. Like, what? is that really how you try and chat someone up or something? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I just find it really disrespectful when you're new to my channel, and I'm not gonna like, obviously on a live anyway. Luckily you guys can't see the comments, and it's all right when me and the True Crime Whisperer are having a bit of a laid back one and we're having a laugh and a giggle, but I'm actually, you know, I've said it 3 times because I'm actually a bit pissed off that I just find it disrespectful. So I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. Right, sorry, Nathan.
We were talking about this yesterday, and it's a bit insulting because people say stupid comments when we're doing lives, but when it's like a man that comes on, everyone was respectful, and it's a little bit insulting. Do you know what I mean? It's getting a bit silly, but yeah.
Right, let's move on and get the energy back in the room because I don't like getting riled up. But anyway, that's the first time I've actually been like a bit annoyed, to be fair. So, because it gets to the point where it's not funny anymore. What was the most rewarding offending behaviour course you did whilst away? So offending behaviour. So I'm not going to say obviously rapt is not an offending behaviour. Mine was actually the sycamore tree. Was it sycamore tree? Is that what it's called, Ginge? Yeah. So where you actually learn about the ripple effect. I mean, obviously learning about it is quite obvious, but for me it was that, because you kind of went in deep and you heard people come in from the outside, like come in that have had crimes done to them, and it was so rewarding because we had this one woman on, and come in, and her shed had been burgled, but oh my god, she was never the same for years. And at first I was thinking, seriously, this one, like, your shed was burgled, do you know what I mean? You knitted your kids a few blankets that are in there, and I was just thinking, sort of like, sharp. And then we had to do something like a story or a poem, and I wrote this poem, and first of all I was like, when you started sharing your story I thought you was really boring, blah blah blah, but then I kind of like realized actually that's still someone's home, and it's actually really sad that someone was so affected for so long by this, but it was also really rewarding because I got to sit with her, and she ended up in tears, and she was really thankful to me because I explained to her that somebody breaking into your property isn't a personal attack. I said, okay, there are scummy people that do it just because they're scummy and they don't want to earn a living, but some people have a story and they need to feed their drug habit. And she was just, and explained, obviously, you guys are not silly, and she was so thankful, and she felt like she could actually move on, like it was about 8 years later, from just hearing it from a criminal side, and not, she just took it real personal. Ginge, if you want to go ahead.
I can't even remember which courses were for offending. Which ones were they?
So for offending behaviour, so I think it really is just like sycamore tree, isn't it? I don't think we had any other. You got caught. I mean, you got made to do wrapped if your OMU wanted you, but I don't think it was for offending. I don't think. Did you do the sycamore tree?
I didn't do the sycamore tree. I didn't do rat. I tried to do wrapped, but my anxiety got the better of me, and I just couldn't sit in a group and do that. See, I don't think I'd done any, but I'd done a thinking skills course and that was like about in Peterborough. That was kind of about offending, like thinking before you go and do things. But yeah, it wasn't really about offence. So I don't think I actually done any. I'd done loads of different ones because I fucked about. But yeah, I'd done pipe on A-Wing for the last year and a half of my sentence, and it was constantly just therapy and talking about your feelings. Yeah, I didn't do sycamore or anything like that, unfortunately.
I think, Corinne, you didn't do any courses, did you? Emily, did you do any?
There wasn't any.
Sorry.
When I was at Bronzefield. I didn't get offered anything. But I don't know if you guys were offered anything at Bronzefield.
Did you not get? Was there not a course there for like domestic violence or anything?
I didn't get offered any courses except for going.
You
and doing
probably wasn't there long enough. You wasn't there long enough because you got to do a certain amount of time. Emily, I'm only sort of rushing it a little bit along because I know we're getting close to the hour now, and I know Emily's got her family and stuff there. So, did you do any courses, Emily, in offending?
Not in offended. My sentence plan was really basic, to be honest with you, when I was in there. So there wasn't really much that I had to do apart from I had to do a money management course. Um, but I didn't end up doing that because I was like, I didn't really have, although I think because it was drug related, they assume that you're in it for the money. Um, but yeah, it wasn't even, so I didn't end up doing it. So I didn't complete my sentence plan. But I did do in Bronzefield, I did do a course called Aurora, which was a domestic abuse course. But I think that Corinne, they only ran it like once every 6 months or every year or something like that. So I did the course. It ran over 3 days. Like I mentioned earlier, that was such a good, that was amazing course. That was like made me realize a lot of things that had happened. And yeah, that for me when I did that course was a time for me to, that was a turning point for me in my sentence, I'd say. That at that point after completing that course I was like, oh okay, it was a really big eye opener for me. But I think that was it though. I think I might have done a thinking skills course as well that Ginge mentioned. I don't know if it was thinking skills or it was something to do with confidence and self-building. But I can't remember what it was called. That was in Bronzefield, and that was just a day course. That was it really.
Will they can come, so they'll either come at lunchtime or when the court's shut, and they literally can come up until about 12 o'clock at night. So there'll be one van that comes at lunchtime from the courts and then one afterwards. Yeah, do you know what? I mean, when I look back now, I mean, I don't class myself as a victim because I was never pushed or forced to do any of that kind of stuff. But I never would have sold drugs to a 13-year-old kid. Never. I'm just popping up all the comments so you guys can read them. Thank you for all the lovely comments.
Oh, they're lovely, thank you.
I think I've got, sorry, you have to bear with me because I think there's been quite a few comments coming through. Joanne Dennehy's never getting out. She's life without parole. Fuck's sake, Will. Sorry, I'm just trying to read and put. So Becky, I went to prison for drug dealing. So did Emily. Ginge, what was yours again?
Robbery, house robbery.
Corinne was retaliating basically to being like violence, but being abused, just on a backlash. You might explain it better.
Trying to butter it up, I was violent.
I know, but it's not like you're just a violent person, is it? That's not.
No, I'm not. It's a very complicated story, but yeah, I did, and I deserve to go to prison for what I did. I regret it, but I've learned from my mistakes.
So I didn't move. Emily, did you move?
Yeah, so I'm originally from London, and that's where my offence took place. And I now live in Essex.
Ginge?
My offence took place in Newport, South Wales, where I live, but I'm actually not allowed there, so I moved to, I went to Bedford when I got out in AP, and now I live near Leicestershire.
Corinne, and then obviously you can answer that one as well after.
Hang on, so
did you move when you come out first of all?
No, I moved house, but I didn't move the area because all my kids are down here, and I was in the process of trying to get them all back, so I stayed where I was. Are women sentenced more harshly than? Sorry, it's so bright my screen. The male officers. offenders. Yeah, can you? Because it's
Yeah, of
really.
course. So are women sentenced more harshly than male offenders for violence? I myself have been in domestic abuse and totally understand.
So it's basically, are they asking like, are men sentenced like more harshly than women?
I think the problem you got with that is
It's complicated.
yeah, women end up getting a shitty sentence on a backlash of domestic abuse. Not all cases. I know men have domestic abuse done to them as well. So I
Yeah.
don't really know. I think you've got to know men. You've got to have the same crime to balance it out. It's like I can say with the drugs, me and my Cody, he got a light sentence considering he got caught with more drugs, like the time gap. But you've got to have someone that's done the exact same thing of you to really sort of answer that.
Mm.
Oh, Nathan, I'm so honoured that you've been here tonight. I really appreciate it. He says, I commend you on your honesty and I feel your pain. Everyone tough times, but all survived. And look at you all now flourishing in freedom. I'm so excited to get you on. I think
Thank you. I
our
can't wait to
times.
Thanks, Nathan.
I
Thank you.
know. Ours is going to be easy, I reckon, in comparison to what he's been through being an IPP prisoner. Silly question, but did you learn your lesson, so to speak? I mean, obviously for me, because I no longer sell drugs. And I mean, if you've listened to everyone's story, I think it answers it itself anyway, Howard. I was recalled in lockdown for being at my parents' address. I lost everything then. Oh God. Well, yeah, don't tell us too much. It's only a few more sleeps. I'm so excited. Lockdown was hard for a normal person, so I can only imagine it was hard for you ladies in prison. Yeah, it wasn't fun. Love how honest you all are. You're all strong and special in your own way. Thank you, Nikki. This is for all of you. You think most women end up in prison due to abusive relationships? I would definitely say 50%, maybe more. What do you guys think?
Oh,
My bad. I should have gone. Go on, Emily. Go on.
Oh no, sorry, I didn't know who was going. Sorry. I definitely think that the statistics. Sorry, guys, for this choir in the background. One sec. The statistics are very high. So most women in prison, at some point in their life, have been a victim of whether it be domestic abuse or some form of abuse in their childhood. And a lot of women are in prison as a result of a man, unfortunately. Can't remember the exact statistics, but in terms of abuse that they've suffered at some point in their life, is extremely high.
Ginge.
I didn't know the statistic. I can't say that word. That I didn't know they were that high, because everyone that I've met in there that is in there, it's like for robbery and drug dealing and just being stupid. None of them I've spoke to are actually in there for retaliation for domestic abuse. So I didn't know it was that high. I wasn't aware of that. Obviously, trauma from a child can affect, like you said, abuse when you're a child, or things you see can affect the way you see things in the future. But for me, you can't always blame, not anything towards anyone, but I can't blame the way my actions were because of what I went through as a child or later on in life. But yeah, obviously it is quite high, statistics.
Sorry, Corinne, just before you answer, guys, if you're trying to put Emily's name in, you must put the @ sign in front of it. Sorry, Corinne, go.
no, that's all right. Oh yeah. So 2 of my cellmates, because I always used to share a cell because I didn't like being on my own. So 2 of them were in there, and obviously I'm not going to name or anything, but one of them had retaliated to her boyfriend and had, when she come in, she had 2 black eyes and a broken nose, and she'd not stabbed but like gone like that to get them away from him, and it cut them. So they were charged with GBH with intent, which is like a 5-year minimum. And then the other lady that was in there, she swore blind to me that she didn't do it, that the partner had done it to himself, and then because they both lied and said that somebody did it in the street because he was embarrassed to admit he did it to himself. They then thought she had done it, so they took her in for it, but she'd been on remand for a year by the time I got there already. So, but yeah, there was a lot. I met quite a few women that were in there for they were in there for domestic violence, but it had been because of them being abused and they'd lashed out after taking it for so many years. So yeah.
There's actually quite a lot of questions throughout here. I'm just trying to see. I know a couple of you got little ones, so I think we're going to wrap it up around here. Someone asked just
Thanks,
before
Nikki.
that. Someone said about it. Yeah, there was always time to relax. I mean, I was an absolute joker sometimes, but the officers would definitely tell you off if you got caught messing around. So yeah, I am gonna. Where am I? I'm just trying to see if there's any more. Listen, I thought that was quite a funny one. It's the best thing you said all night, Howard. No, I'm joking. Guys, I really, really, really appreciate you taking the time coming on this evening. I'd love to do this all again because I think I'm not joking. There's about another 20 comments easy. So I think if I don't wrap it up, we'll all be stuck here for hours, and I could quite happily talk, but obviously we've all got lives to get on with as well. So guys, again, if you're new to the channel, please jump over to the True Crime Whisperer for Corinne and subscribe over to hers. Ems, you need to jump on. What I'll do is I'll pin Emily's both their YouTube channels in the comments when I come off. Ginge is she wants to get on TikTok. We're trying to get her to 1,000 followers, so I'll pin Ginger's TikTok so we can get her so she can do some lives on there. Guys, I appreciate you all coming in, old and new. Please take on board what I've said tonight. And yeah, thank you for tuning in as always. Thank you, girls. Honestly, I really, really appreciate it. I've got love for you all.
We'll definitely do it again.
100%. And what we'll do as well, Ems, we need to come over on your channel, boost yours a bit, and come on to Corinne's, because we all work as a little community. Yeah, so again, appreciate it, and yeah, we'll definitely do some more work together.
I haven't got time to do a YouTube channel. Sorry.
Thank you, Joanne.
Good night.
Yeah, and thanks, Fran, for having me back on.
Oh, anytime, mate. Don't be silly. Thank you always for coming on.
We're about to drop a video as well, aren't we?
Yes, I'll shout you in a minute when we come off here. Nathan, guys, you've got to tune in for Nathan. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. Really appreciate it. And I am really looking forward to Monday night. You guys have got to tune in. And Justine, I will answer that quickly. No, you always ask, and she's doing the same role. So thank you for asking. It means a lot. Right, let's go. Take care. Bye, guys.
Good night. Bye.